Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Welcome to episode 161 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris Hollifield. I am the host. Welcome to my show, everybody. Thank you for downloading. Thank you so much for listening. The website for the podcast, iamsaltlake.com. You can go there. You can listen to all the previous episodes. You can get in touch with me. All of the information is right at iamsaltlake.com. Hey, listen, I got a great show for you guys today. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk a lot about local music here in Salt Lake City. I sat down with John, Dan, and Sean, all involved with American Musicians Radio, Utah Musicians Radio. Dan is in the band The Last Wednesday. He also does open mic at the Royal. Sean is involved with Fasba Fpel, a local band here in Salt Lake City. And John runs American Musicians Radio, Utah Musicians Radio, which happens to also be the studio that I'm recording the I Am Salt Lake podcast in. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to sit down, kind of have a roundtable discussion with all three of those individuals, talk about local music, kind of talk about what's going on with American Musicians Radio, Utah Musicians Radio, and just have a really good discussion about some different things going on here in Salt Lake City. So I'm going to be playing that interview here in just a minute. We play some music. It's a really great conversation that I have. Again, the website, iamsaltlake.com, is where you can go find all of the previous episodes of this podcast. You can also find it in iTunes, on Stitcher Radio, really anywhere you listen to podcasts. Feel free to go through that back catalog, listen to any episodes, subscribe, leave the podcast a review, especially in iTunes. That helps boost the ratings. That helps get it exposed to more people. Listen, if you want to come on a future episode of the podcast, feel free, drop me an email, iamsaltlake@gmail.com. I would love to bring you on and have you share your story with the rest of Salt Lake. If you're a business owner, an artist, a musician, comedian, if you do a podcast, whatever, I'd love to sit down and chat with you. So feel free to reach out. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook. Just search for I Am Salt Lake. Follow me on there. Stay connected. I'll keep you guys up to date on things going on here in Salt Lake City. And I'd love to get to know each and every one of you. So I'm going to quit talking. Let's jump into that conversation that I had with John, Dan, and Sean at the American Musicians Radio studio here in Salt Lake City, Utah, where we talk local music, we play some local music, we just have a really great conversation. Thank you so much for listening.
Well, I'm Sean Juan Wildes, on the internet at least, and I run a project called Fasba Fpel. It used to be a prog metal band, but we've evolved into a unique jam band that invites people from different bands to come and jam with us. And we just record it, film it. We have our faces painted by our professional makeup artist, and release it every week as a free to download album. And John was one of our guests, and he invited me to have my own show in which I could interview my guests and play the full albums, and then music by the guests as well, and whatever other stuff I wanted to do. So that has built a better relationship between me and Mr. Farmer here, and we've been doing all kinds of things together. So
when is your show on? Do you have like an specific time that it's on,
Saturdays
so people listen
at noon.
and hear it?
Yeah, it's Saturdays at noon, which is the release time for the albums each week. So as soon as the album goes live on YouTube or whatever, that's when you should tune into AMR, and you could be downloading it right then, or you could watch the video while the music plays or whatever.
Download the album that you recorded.
Right.
So every week, gosh, you record with a different band every week, or
usually just one person from a different band. They come and join my 3-piece.
And what do you play?
I play the drums usually. I've been playing the drums most of the time lately, but I've played slide guitar, banjo, guitar, bass, acoustic and electric guitar, all kinds of shit. Violin, John's electric violin. We just hang drums. It's all over the place. Harmonica,
I brought a collection of
self-taught on all these instruments, right?
I am, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm not exactly pro at all these instruments, but anything goes at Fasba. It's a place where people can come and get their weirdness out. Like, there's all these guitar brands making these guitar pedals that, like, you know, you make the craziest sounds, and people have these pedals, but it doesn't fit their band, you know, and so they never ever release a recording with that, but they like jamming with it, you know. Well, we give them the release. They can come to Fasba Fpel and use those sounds that they have available, but they don't fit in with the stuff that they usually write. They can come and we do all the work, you know. We put it out. We are eventually going to be making physical packages that people could sell at their merch stands as well, and I'll probably even end up giving them to the bands that I collaborate with for free or extremely cheap, you know, 50 cents each, and then they can sell it for however much they want at their own merch stands or whatever.
Have you done live shows yet or anything?
I'm wanting to, but it's been kind of weird trying to book a gig.
I could imagine.
But since we have no material.
Yeah.
But basically the idea of when we play live is I'll book a gig a couple months out, and we'll hopefully be playing around a couple of other bands. And I'll contact the bands that we're going to be playing with and see who from those bands wants to jam with us. And then we will kind of rotate out. And I don't even need to play the whole time. I mean, I could start out the set, and then the drummer from the band playing next wants to play, and it's like, okay, fuck, tag out, you know?
Yeah.
And I just swap out on stage and go get a drink or whatever, and I watch for a second, and then it looks like the bassist is from another band is kind of getting bored or something, so it's like, I'm going to go play bass or whatever, and I'll just go step in there, and it'll just be this kind of free-for-all thing. And maybe even people in the audience, you know, it's like, oh, there's a guy from an awesome local band. We know of this guy, but he's not performing tonight. Well, bring him on, you know. Come on, get up here, you know. Everybody should just be playing, you know. So
it's just, I mean, it's just really, it just sounds like you're about having fun, really.
It's a purest sense of the word music. It's a purest sense. I mean, it's like, if you can play the music, why not play it? And it doesn't matter if you hit the right chord or not. It's all about just getting there and playing.
It's like the ultimate.
You can't make a wrong note. In other words, there's no wrong answer in this style.
Right. There's so many mess ups with quotes around it, you know, but I think it's inspiring in a way. Like someone's going to hear it, you know, like Jimi Hendrix, you know, people copy his mistakes all the time, you know. People are going to hear Fasba and be like, whoa, listen to that fucked up tempo fluctuation. That's uncalled for. But somehow they're going to get something out of that and be like, wow, this band had the guts to do that.
Absolutely. A lot of bands, I think, are afraid to experiment.
Exactly. And I say that all the time, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, can people check out any of your music, like online or YouTube?
Over 50 albums
50
for free on the internet. And it's interesting because I feel like sometimes we'll get a fan and it's exactly what I expected. I mean, pretty much everything is what I've expected so far. I've had this vision, you know, and everything has come true so far in a way. But anyway, what I imagined and what I think is happening is that we get fans and they'll think it's really cool for a little while, and then they'll forget about it, you know, and then a month later they'll be like, oh, what's Fasba up to? And then they spend, you know, 3 hours catching up on some of our albums. So I'll go on and I'll see that someone listened to our latest 4 albums that day or whatever, you know. But yeah, anyway, it's all at fasbafpel.com. It's a fucked up name. I know we didn't know what we were doing when we made it. It's an improv name as well. Like, everything's been improv. The letters were typed into an SNES controller, and then I decided, hey, let's make that the band name.
Right, there you go.
And I'll get the links on the show notes for this podcast. So just go to iamsaltlake.com. This is episode 161. The show notes for that episode, and then you're on Facebook probably as well.
Yeah, and Facebook, Reverb, all that.
Awesome,
AMR,
awesome.
Of course.
Well, and then you're Dan, right?
Yeah.
Dan,
What's up,
let's chat for. I want to come back and talk more music about Fasba, right? That's the correct sound of it, but as you can say, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want people fighting over how it's pronounced. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and John pronounces it differently than I do, and that's totally cool. I kind of encourage it as long as people know what it is. You know, I mean, it's not. You know, it's not like you're saying
it's not like someone's going to say
up.
Schlotzenheimer and everyone's like, what the hell's that?
Well, and then your show noon Mountain Time,
right?
So because you're recording, you're here in Salt Lake City,
and that's eventually going to be recorded live at that time. So we'll be taking callers, but we haven't quite gotten it set up. Dan's working on that with his iPhone, but I don't have one of those, so we'll see how that works out. It also airs again Mondays around 7.
See, and I would love to do that with the I Am Salt Lake podcast. Is
And
take some phone
too,
calls
yeah.
and I think that'd be really awesome and really a good time for people to call up. So maybe we can figure out how it all works and technology. So, anyways, Dan, what is your role? Talk about yourself for a minute. What's going on?
I'm
so
bad at talking about myself.
Oh yeah.
I think we got four guys here that aren't afraid to talk about themselves, right?
It's going to be a long show.
Dan, okay, Dan. If we need to do a two-parter here, maybe. I don't know. So, Dan, let's talk. How you doing? Thanks for sitting down and talking.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to be on here.
So you from Salt Lake?
Yeah, I'm born and raised I was born in Salt Lake, raised in Heber. Most of my life.
Sorry.
Moved back down here for a little while, and then moved back up there for a little while. Now I'm back down here from Heber,
Pleasant Grove,
which is in Pleasant Grove. You
grew up in Pleasant Grove at the Grove. That's where you grew up.
That's where I grew up. Yeah. No, yeah. I started doing music and stuff when I was 9. I wrote my first song. And
what were you playing at 9? Like, what kind of instrument were you playing? Guitar.
Yeah.
Self-taught.
My dad bought me a electric guitar and showed me like 3 or 4 chords and how to do a power chord. That was all he had to do. Show me how to do a power chord. And nothing's ever changed. That's all I ever play. No, and so I just went from there and just started messing around with it, and then stopped for a while and started back up when I was about 15, and was like, you know what, I want to do this for a living. And so I'm working at that. And then here we're getting a good sales team together.
Yep.
Doing some sales management.
That's the other thing.
So music's always been a big part of your life.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how did you and John meet?
That's actually, it was like last week, as I was talking about, you had somebody on your podcast, I can't remember her name.
Natasha,
yes.
Natasha Maurer.
And she was talking about, at the beginning of the show last week, she was talking about the biggest bomb she ever had down in Pleasant Grove, and it was at the venue that I was working at when I met John, and we were in charge of that show that she's talking about, and we had awful promotion at the time.
Down in what was the name of the venue?
It's called the Grove Theater.
The Grove Theater, yeah. Pleasant Grove.
Towards the end, we just didn't have enough people that were like serious about it, and they just it fizzled out.
About that for a little bit.
It fizzled out. Everything, life happened. And
so you've known John for a while.
I've known John for a while, yeah. But we actually met just like a week before that show that she was talking about, which was kind of the beginning of the end for the Grove.
Was the
world's longest concert.
Yeah.
And it was a Guinness World Record attempt for the longest concert ever done. At the time, I think it was 15. Yeah, I think it was 15 days in Buffalo, New York, held it. So we were trying to beat that. We failed within the first band that played, because there's rules and stipulations. We didn't meet them right at the beginning, but John had come in to help promote the bands that were playing on there and kind of sponsor the event as Utah musicians, and that's how me and him kind of got acquainted and started talking. And here we are. 4 or 5 years later now, something like that.
I got the T-shirt somewhere. I remember it has the year on it. I don't remember.
Miserable failure.
It was such a failure. It was so bad.
So now,
I knew it was a failure.
Do you have a show on American Musicians Radio? Then?
I do.
A show?
Yeah, it's called the Whatever Lounge.
Whatever Lounge.
Yeah, and it's every Sunday at noon.
Mountain Time.
Yeah.
So AMR.FM to listen to that noon Sundays.
Yeah, under
what do you
United
play?
States.
Music? I mean, what is it? Talk? Music?
It's whatever. That's why we're called the Whatever Lounge. It's a place to just talk about whatever. I mean, literally.
If you ever need somebody to talk about whatever,
that'd be great. We'd love you and
talk about whatever.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on.
Talking about cool beans and
cool beans.
What happens when you don't cook them?
I was right too. I was right. So last night I had. Because it was our first live show, and it strains on your brain because you got so many things you got to pay attention to. And I had clicked a song on, and we were coming back out of break, and I forgot to pause the song, but I turned it down in here, so we couldn't hear the song playing in here, but it was sitting there just blaring through while it's live. We're talking, and I was like, I forgot to pause it. Oops. So you guys missed half of what we just were talking about. And we were talking about cool beans.
I've done that.
Cool beans. Yeah.
talk about John. So John contacted you. You also do some advertising. Is that kind of what you're doing?
We're trying that out. I mean, it's kind of a new adventure for me. Yeah, it's something I'm definitely interested in checking out, and that's what we're doing.
I'll wait for my turn.
Are you, no, John, you're fine. Do you play any local music now?
Yeah, I'm in a band called The Last Wednesday.
The Last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Talk about the band. What kind of music is it? What do you play?
We play like hard rock. Yeah. It's probably the best way to describe it. We just released our EP in October.
Okay, so I'm looking at Sean grabbed me a Last Wednesday CD here. Look at that. You even have the parental advisory.
Yeah.
What's
gotta have that.
What was wrong with the first Tuesday?
First Tuesday? It just didn't work, man.
Damn it.
It just didn't work.
No, so is this the only CD that you've put out with the band?
We have an acoustic EP as well. I don't even know if we still have any floating around anywhere that haven't been bought or...
Can we play one of these tracks
sure.
on this right now?
Sure.
I'll stitch it in, and then we'll come back. We'll chat with you guys some more. Chat with John some more.
Yeah, definitely.
What song do you want to play on here?
Well, let's see.
Or is there a different song you want to play by your band?
No, any one of those. Whatever one you want to hear. How about that?
Dude, I've never heard any of them.
Perfect.
I like the sound of Trouble. Because
all right.
That's pretty much what I get into these days is trouble.
Well, it's a song about sex, so... Up to you if you want to.
Trouble and sex, they go hand in hand.
Yes, they do.
In my life, they do. So. Hey, whatever. So let's play that track. We'll come back. We'll chat some more. I want to play a Fasba song. You mentioned maybe even you did one with John. Right?
Yeah, John's actually on 2 of our albums so far.
No, this is like I said. I just kind of want this to be like a fun local Utah music. AMR. So go to AMR.fm. Check these guys' shows out. We're going to come back, chat with John. I want to talk about the Cat's Den.
Oh, shit.
What's going on with that?
Right on.
So we'll play Trouble, and we'll come back. So, yeah. Where can people find music? I mean, Facebook, website. What do we got?
We're on Facebook. I think we have some stuff on Reverb Nation.
Okay.
I'm working on going to get into this stuff
Whatever.
on AMR. I am. No, I am. I actually need to tonight.
Whatever.
Hey.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. Well, I know I'm excited to check out your music. Do you have any shows coming up that you want to talk about?
We don't have any shows booked right now.
No shows.
You can find him though at the Royal. He does.
Let's actually. I'm glad you said something, John. So the Royal.
Yeah.
You've been doing some stuff with the Royal.
Yeah.
How involved are you with them? Like, what do
we
you
do an open mic night every Tuesday night.
And that's what you're kind of host.
Right,
that's what you host.
Right. Me and my buddy Stephen Golding host that, and we're starting kind of a new format to it, and we're getting people, if they want to if they want to be featured on a certain Tuesday, it gives them an extra, it gives them a time limit instead of a song limit.
Okay.
So they can play however many songs they want in a certain amount of time. They'll get a longer time than, say a walk-in. Somebody just right off the street coming in to sign up for open mic. They'll also get promoted in City Weekly and, free Facebook promotion.
Really?
Stuff just for being a featured act. And all you got to do is just email us at.
So email you in advance to get on a Tuesday show.
And I think it's open mic the Royal at gmail.com is that.
So what time does it start on Tuesdays? So,
it starts at 9.
9 o'clock till midnight, 1 a.m.
Until everybody's kind of done playing or 1.
Now I've actually never been to the Royal.
Yeah, it's
let's
cool.
let's talk a minute about that.
Have you been to the Leprechaun?
I know exactly where the Leprechaun is.
Do you remember where the veranda used to be? Just kitty corner
more or less, yeah.
From the Leprechaun. That's the Royal now.
Okay.
So it's that little spot just on the creek.
Yeah, it used to be Oceans.
So can you get? Seafood. Can you get a beer there?
Oh yeah. No, it's a bar.
Okay.
Bar.
I didn't know if it was like an all ages venue.
No, it's
21 and over.
Honestly, it reminds me a lot of a modern day Zephyr Club.
Yeah.
Because it's got the upstairs. You got where you can look down onto the stage from upstairs, and the atmosphere is really it's great.
Yeah,
I love the Zephyr Club. Me and John and myself, the Zephyr Club. Well, you guys probably have you guys Sean or Dan? You guys ever do the Zephyr Club?
They're too young.
Too young. How old are you? You guys are. Gosh, we won't get into ages here.
He doesn't even remember the Salt Palace.
What? The Salt Palace. That's still there, isn't it?
Yeah, the convention center. I'm talking about the original one. The big round.
Okay. Yeah, that was years ago. Wow. I haven't thought about that place for a minute.
Yeah.
Or Saltaire. I mean, that was where all the shows used to be too.
Still is.
Sometimes.
Just
raves.
You brought it up.
You want to go to a rave, but so the Royal. What's the address? So the exact the exact address?
Yeah, it's 4760 South, 900 East, and it's in Murray.
Okay.
And it's a great bar. Don't just come on Tuesdays. I mean, obviously, come on Tuesdays.
So, do you have any involvement outside of Tuesdays with the Royal?
No, not officially.
Okay.
Is it karaoke on Wednesday?
They got karaoke on Wednesdays. I think they have bands on Thursdays. I know they have bands on Fridays.
Like all local bands, or do they ever have
Well, no, they have
touring
touring bands. Yeah, they actually just had Buck Cherry not too long ago. They just had Brett Scallions from Fuel come play. Royal Bliss plays there all the time.
Boba Flex.
Yeah, Boba Flex. I don't have they played. I don't know if they've played there or not, but
I thought they did. I thought
maybe they did. They
with Royal Bliss.
They've had a lot of bands that play there. They had Kevin from Candlebox come play.
Oh, right on.
So yeah.
Now, John, don't you do live broadcasting on Tuesdays, or is that every Tuesday that you're doing there, or no?
Unless I get sick.
Most Tuesdays.
Yeah, but yeah.
We come do a remote out there.
So chances are, if you tune into AMR.FM on Tuesday night,
you'll be able to
catch it. So for my out of Salt Lake, I have some out of Salt Lake City listeners, to the podcast, and they can check out some live music. And so, how many bands approximately play on Tuesday?
That varies. We get anywhere from 4 acts to we had 13 a couple weeks ago. It's crazy, but I mean, it varies.
How long?
And it's really cool.
It depends on how many people are signed up on the list. I mean, if we have a small list, we'll give you like 3 or 4 songs.
Okay.
If you're a featured act, you'll get 30 to 45 minutes.
Wow.
To play. And if the list's pretty busy, we'll stick it about 2 songs or so, 2 or 3 songs.
Well, maybe I'll have to come down and do some like I Am Salt Lake recording. I Am Salt Lake podcast
that'd be great.
Recording down there. And
the thing that I like about it is that you get a bunch of people that are like solo artists, and they'll come in with, it doesn't matter if it's a guitar or a piano or like young Apollo Jordan. He comes in and he'll put on a whole set. He'll bring his keyboard, he'll bring like a drum track, and he'll lay down everything, and he'll just play all of this. And he's a solo guy, but it's like he's being an accompanying, you know, with a full band. So it's pretty cool what the innovation that they're putting together to make it happen. It's really nice.
Yeah, we do a lot of jams too. We
do the beat off.
Yeah, we
do a beat off. Yep, that's awesome. A bunch of guys sit around and beat off.
Yeah, it's great.
That sounds like fun.
And then they play
hanging around with a bunch of guys.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know,
you sold me.
Let us explain a little better.
We set a drum set up there, and anybody's welcome to play it, you know, throughout the night. It's kind of an open jam. So
who came up with that idea?
If there's anybody that,
Who came up with that idea?
The drums?
The drum off.
Oh, the drum off? I came up with the drum off.
Come up with that drum off.
Yes, I did.
When?
Because I always let Steve play.
Well, you let him play. I'm talking about when I said let's do drum solos.
Yeah.
And, you know, because you always have somebody on guitar. You always have all these people get up there, and it's like, why don't we show off what drummers can do?
Yeah.
They don't get their spotlight. Then I got sick. I was gone, and then you came back, and then you started doing the competition with the Pandora or whatever.
Yeah, we started it that night.
Yeah.
When you said that, because I was like, and I've got the perfect way to do it. And so I brought up Pandora.
And then
what you do is I hit play and playing along to the song.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever,
so as a drummer, you got to play.
Song it is.
Yeah. So now what you do is you try to come up with. You got to keep time with the song, but you also want to add flavor. You got to do showmanship. So it's like you're critiqued by, you know, as long as you keep the rhythm and then adding, subtracting, doing the things to kind of keep
fills and stuff.
Doing fills, but you know, you still got to say
doing breakdowns and stuff. No, it's just coming straight through the monitor on stage. Yeah,
yeah.
It's pretty. It's interesting.
You bastard gave me Taylor Swift.
I didn't give you anything. It's Pandora, sir. That's what I'm talking about. That's what makes it interesting, is because, you know, I on that station, it was the Katy Perry station.
Katy Perry.
Because Steve requested the Katy Perry station. So I said, okay. And I threw Katy Perry station on, and Taylor Swift happened to pop up when you were playing.
Right.
So you were stuck with Taylor Swift. I didn't pick Taylor Swift for you.
Yeah, whatever.
He's like holding this grudge.
I am putting me through hell.
Why you gotta do that?
And I get booed. I got booed.
Oh, good.
Made me feel special. Thank you. No,
we have to have that give and take on Tuesdays.
That's right,
John. Because
that's true, and we do.
I mean, because we have a give and take.
Yeah, we definitely have a banter when we're on Tuesdays. So, and that's the other thing is that again, then you and I are like co-hosts for that night down at the Royal.
Exactly.
When we're doing our broadcast. So
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like me and Steve host at the venue, and you and me host the show that
we're broadcasting
the show.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun. It's an interesting.
I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, it's way fun. We'd love to have you.
It's a little bit out of my, I'm downtown.
Yeah, so, you're downtown. I used to live downtown.
It's a little bit of a drive. What are you laughing at, John?
I'm sorry. It's going to be really inappropriate.
He's really snarky tonight.
Yeah,
but really snarky.
I got to tell you, I can't get past Tom Hanks.
Yes, we are. Well, let's just be honest. Tom.
We are being.
Before we started recording,
I Am Salt Lake podcast with Tom Hanks.
We were talking about voices here, and then got mentioned how I've gotten told that I sound like Tom Hanks.
You can be honest, Tom.
Like a Turner and Hooch, Tom Hanks, big Tom Hanks, or maybe was it Castaway?
Thinking Castaway, Tom Hanks.
Yeah. It's totally dehydrated.
Yeah.
Fishing, knocking your tooth
out. You got the beard. It's coming in a little bit.
Oh my God!
No,
yeah,
this is great. This is what I wanted this to be. Just a good time with some dudes hanging out.
Wilson. That's great, man.
We're hanging out with Tom Hanks here on the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Don't let
your host Tom Hanks.
Oh my God! No, right? That is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
The Da Vinci Code, Tom Hanks.
Oh my
Let's get over here to John and talk to John for a minute before we get too sidetracked. I was trying to go around the circle here and yeah. So John, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing better now.
Third time on the podcast.
Third time. Yeah.
Well, you've been on a couple of my recent because I've been recording the last few podcast episodes out of your.
Oh yeah, and then I rudely jump in and grab the mic.
He did that last night live on our show too.
He
does that. He just jumps right in.
I want to say this publicly. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me use this space to record, some interviews. And
yeah, man.
I mean,
it's what it's all about. That's the heart and soul of what we want to bring to the community. It's open for everybody. So.
And that's why I wanted to kind of catch people up with both of us. So I mean, talk about this. What I mean, since the last time you've been on, I don't know how much you want to share. I know it's probably a lot.
I gave up my front teeth for this studio.
Yeah, literally.
That's why I'm lisping.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a cool place. I mean,
thanks. Yeah. No, it was one of those things that I just sort of said I've got to make something happen, and one day I just kind of did some meditating and said, if I don't do it, it's never going to happen. And I can only go and do so much now. I'm at a pinnacle that if I don't take the next leap, and we've gone through different studios before, which I greatly appreciate the people that believed in us and wanted to help us and everything. Just wasn't kind of as great as they were and as cool as the space was, it just didn't really mold with what we were trying to accomplish. And so,
and that happens. I mean,
it does.
There's no anger or nothing.
Nothing. No resentment or anything. It just, at the time it worked for that time, and then we just had to kind of move on. And so I finally went on KSL and another one of those 5 a.m. things. I just popped up and said, I'm just going to look, and boom, this space popped up, and I'm like, all right. I'm getting it.
It's a great place.
And I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, I could if it was, if I had a little more space for, our camera guy and, a studio. But you know what? For
it's
now,
baby steps,
what it is, it's baby steps. And this is like the perfect, this is just right.
You got a little office.
I got my
a place
office
to record.
Yep. And we've got a place where we're selling CDs. I'm getting a rack here in the next couple of days to sell T-shirts, band T-shirts, so bands can sell their T-shirts here now. They can sell their CDs here now. We're giving them kind of...
You're going to make me go broke. I'm going to want to buy all the T-shirts every time I come here to record a podcast.
And there it is. We've done our job then. No, so the whole purpose of this place is to promote local and support our local music scene, local businesses, and just build everything up and help as many people out as possible. So it's all about community.
Everyone deserves to be heard.
That's right. All Utah, all the time. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just that's really the heart and soul of what I'm putting together. So I'm really happy that we're finally able to do this for you.
Dude, I'm happy to help you out. That's, and you help me out.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to get people over to check out AMR.
Hey, man, I want people to, the people on my side that may not have heard of you.
Yeah.
I want them to listen to you. And if it goes back and forth and we're crossbreeding, everything, dude, that's the way it should be anyway.
Yeah.
So it works.
Cat's Den, you still doing that or what?
Yeah.
That's John's show, by the way, for people listening.
Yeah, since I go by Johnny Cat, and so it's the Cat's Den, and Wednesday night, 7:00, and it's live, and I'll probably say some dumb shit like I usually do, and
you're still doing like interviews, getting some bands maybe in here. Or...
Yep, I interview bands. I'm interviewing, kind of stepping it up a little bit, and talking to a couple of local businesses and stuff like that. So I got like Guitars Are that's going to be coming down, and talking to Mason and Robbie and those guys, and just kind of talking about what their company is doing and stuff like that. But it just more on the musical side of things. So,
where would you like to see all of this go? I mean, what
ballistic?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's
nuclear.
Kind of a tough question. But where would you like to see? Where's your vision at this point? Not the vision maybe the last time we talked, but where do you see this going?
People saying AMR before reverb when they talk about their band links.
Yeah.
Yeah, on AMR. Where can we find your music? iTunes. Really? I thought I saw it on AMR.
Yeah.
But
why not? Why can't that just become a household name?
That's
AMR.
And that's really what I really want to try to do is make us a household name. I mean, would I love to be as big as Reverb? Sure. Would I love to be as big as Spotify and Pandora and iTunes? Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be in the top 5. That would be fantastic. And I think we're just taking the right steps and it's growing organically. That's the one great thing about this company, is that it's never gone backwards. We've always been able to move forward and I've never went from 13 listeners to 7 listeners. I went from 13 listeners to 1,000 listeners to 100,000 listeners to 400,000 listeners. And it's just progressively gotten bigger over time. It's a great organic, steady rate. I think it's meant to be that way, because if it blows up too much, we will be one of those companies that shoots off like a rocket and we're like, oh, hey, happy days. We're going to live in this bubble, and then it'll pop and it'll crash. I want this to be sustainable, that my grandkids and my great grandkids can sit back and say, wow, Grandpa did all of this. And it's still doing exactly what I intended for it to do, is support local business, economy, bands, music, and, everything is based around music, really. That's the human spirit. And so if we have music, when you do a charity, do you not have bands playing at charities? There's always music. There's always, if you want to give something away, what do? You sign a guitar from someone famous and then you put it up for auction and everything like that. Way to go there.
Sorry. It's AMR.
Turn off AMR.
There he goes.
Okay, well, he was just trying to play a sample of what you can find at AMR.fm.
It won't close.
Oh, listen to that quality.
It won't stop.
Is that the Utah channel? That's
there
good stuff.
Sorry.
Party foul. You owe us all $100.
I'm so sorry.
Didn't you know you signed a contract before you came here?
Did we not say turn down? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so with the...
it's a good thing this isn't live.
I'm keeping that in.
We're keeping it in. Yeah. But, so I just want to keep this thing growing organically. Yeah. And so, it's doing exactly what I want it to do.
Now, I know we talked about it when you were on the podcast before, and I'll have those. I should have got the exact numbers. I know you were on episode 30. I know that was episode 30 the first time you were on.
30, and then...
Do you remember it was 100 something, or was it almost 100? I can't remember.
I think it was 90 or
something like that.
Something like that, but it was like another mile marker.
Okay, yeah. So, but how long has this been around now? 10 years? No. 5 years?
AMR's been around
4
since 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
So 6 years.
6 years. Fought tooth and nail for it.
Yeah. But you're still, what's keeping you going now?
Insanity.
Insanity?
Pretty much, yeah. Insanity.
Because I know again, yeah. Well,
you know what? What keeps it going is, well, everybody in this room, really.
Yeah.
It's because, there's a need for it, because no one else really is doing it, and the ones that are doing it, I give them all the credit in the world, and I commend them, and I hope that they succeed too, because it's literally about just promoting music and the people that are out there every single day busting their ass to play in front of a live audience, and they deserve to get the recognition. It takes a lot. A lot of people don't understand what musicians go through. When you go to see a live show, the average Joe that's just out to go and have a good time, go on a date and hear a band, they just see a band that has their shit on stage and they're playing and strumming and singing, and they're either going to like them or not, but they don't realize what it took for those bands to carry all that stuff up, load it up, set it down.
It's a pain in the ass.
And that's just the loading. I'm talking about, let's not forget about the night sitting up, strumming the guitar, coming up with lyrics. Let's not forget about then getting your band members to get on board and collaborate and put that all together. And then on top of that, then recording it, or not even recording it, but then sharing that part of you, that piece of you that you wrote, and sharing it with complete strangers and hoping that they get your message and that they understand and appreciate what you're trying to give them. And if you can do that, man, people should be like, wow, these guys really are putting out more out there. In fact, it's kind of on a side note, but I want to throw this out there. I was talking to Jody Whitesides today, and I said, music is really, it is the human spirit. It speaks to all of us. Anywhere you go, music is there. And the problem with the industry today is that it's so diminished. People don't give music any credit anymore because they hear auto-tuning in the studios, and then they see lip syncing on stage, and they're pumping out $120, $150, $300 to see someone lip sync. So why in the hell would they give it any credit when the artist accidentally drops the mic and they're still singing over the speakers? And they're like, why did I just blow all this money to see this idiot on stage? How can you take that serious? And so I was talking about, why don't we have any more Van Halens, Led Zeppelins, the bands that are out there, the true bands that are in your venues doing what Zeppelin did on a big stage. These guys are on a smaller stage, and you're seeing them for $5. You don't have to pay $150 to see someone lip sync. You can pay $5 and see somebody really sweating their ass off to entertain you.
Yeah.
And that's why I do what I do. That's literally the long and short of why I do what I do, and that's what keeps me going.
Well, I tip my hat to you, sir.
Thank you.
I mean, it's not an easy feat.
It's just respect for these people and really wanting to help everybody out as much as I can. That's it.
You were talking about how music is, spirit.
It is.
That's what I was doing when I so rudely interrupted with AMR.FM playing on my phone. No, I was looking up a documentary called Alive Inside. I couldn't remember the exact name of it. It's called Alive Inside, A Story of Music and Memory. And it's about this guy who is going and taking Alzheimer's patients and playing music, and it's bringing back memories that were long, long gone. And it's really, really, it's an amazing documentary if you haven't had a chance to check
say the name one more time.
It's called Alive Inside, A Story of Music and Memory.
Can you find it on Netflix?
Yeah, it was on Netflix when I saw it. I don't know if it's still on there.
Because we all have Netflix.
Everyone has Netflix or Hulu or whatever.
And I've seen where people that have brain damage from car accidents and stuff like that, and they're communicating through music.
Yeah.
And so they're playing a song, and then you see their brain light up. And that was actually part of what they did in some experiments. And they're like, are these people really truly clinically brain dead, or can they communicate? And so when they'd ask family members, well, what was their favorite song? They would play it. And so all of a sudden their brain just lit up as if they were totally fine, but they were in a coma, and they're like, oh no, they're gone. They play their favorite song, and it's like their brain just woke up.
Yeah, that's exactly what Alive Inside is like too.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's an amazing documentary.
I mean, think about it. Music has been
it's great. It's great.
Sound and music and earth and everything, as hippie as that sounds. The reality is that somebody, log a long time ago was hollowed out, and somebody hit it, or a branch fell down, made a conch sound, and the next thing you know, some guy's hitting on it.
Yeah.
And percussions, my money is that percussions had to be the first instrument before woodwinds or anything else.
Well, except for maybe vocals.
Right.
Well, vocals,
right.
Yeah, right, vocals for sure. And then, but I mean, then
He's
you have.
Got you there.
It's just
John.
which did they make music with?
You got me.
When they
got me.
discovered music, just people sitting around cavemen. Did they discover it from going
tapping
like this?
on their hands,
or did they discover?
It's like
it
which
from
came the
melody
first,
and
the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, you will know exactly.
Percussion or vocals?
I'd have to go with vocals, but as a drummer, I'll go percussion.
So, John, are any other DJs that you have right now, or is this is pretty much it, right?
Well, Dan's got his partner.
His name's David. He would have been here, but he is not feeling well today. So
it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd love to do another one of these round table type.
Absolutely. But the three of us right now have our shows, and you four. So and we're gonna get you on live next.
No, I want to do something live. Actually,
you just need to break into it, man.
Well, it's not even so much breaking into it. I just kind of I have a silly format, of not doing it live, but I'd like to. I've been doing I Am Salt Lake close to 3 years. I mean, I started this summer, minus the 6-month break I took.
Right.
This summer I started 3 years ago.
Wow.
Can you believe that? So it's I'd like to do something live.
Well, if you're not talked into it by the 200th episode, do that. Do the 200th one live.
episode.
Well, I would love to even do live in front of like on a somehow
a stage.
Yeah, somewhere where people can actually come and physically watch.
Let's talk. Maybe we could work that into a Tuesday.
When we get off
some
air.
Musicians.
Yeah.
When we get off air, I've got an idea, and there's a place that I'm trying to work with. That I think would be a perfect place if we can make it happen. So I'll talk.
I could have like a even a one-on-one discussion, a one-on-5 people discussion, And
you could actually have like a full crowd in an auditorium.
But what I mean is to come and hey, come and check this. When
I throw this idea at you, you're going to go, oh man, you will. We'll all be like, oh man,
let's do it.
I
could probably get some people out to check it out.
Oh, I think we can.
Do it now.
Well, I can tell you right now, it already has a built-in clientele. So it would be like almost just adding to the perfection of what they're already doing. So, but yeah, I don't want to give anything away right now, but it's pretty badass. But now it's my turn for you, sir.
I'm getting, okay, you're going to talk to me. Okay.
Yes.
You caught him off guard.
I know.
I'm good at that. I wasn't expecting it.
I saw in his face. He was like, oh shit. What just happened?
What's funny is that I do this to him like every episode because my DJ comes out. And so, all right. So you took 6 months off.
Yeah.
All right.
What did I do during those 6 months?
Well, no. I'm going to throw a spin. Because I remember you asked the question on me and it stuck with me. And so now I'm going to completely throw you into a tailspin. If you could be reincarnated as any animal, what would it be?
Reincarnated as any animal, a monkey.
That has nothing to do with the 6 months. I just wanted to throw that shit out there.
No, but probably like a chimpanzee.
Chimp?
Yeah, chimp.
So what part of the world?
The rainforest.
Why? Why a chimp?
Swinging through trees and having sex with all the other female monkeys. And,
bonobo monkey. All right, we got you.
Yeah.
I'd pick the Hogle Zoo.
The Hogle Zoo. Yeah, it's the Hogle Zoo, so I can stay in Salt Lake. I love this place so much.
Great.
You know what I
still
mean?
do your podcast.
I don't want to leave this place.
It's Zion.
And I get fed every day. I wouldn't have to.
Why forage when you could just be fed?
Yeah. Get my ass wiped by the people at the zoo.
Chris the monkey's got a dirty ass again. Time to wipe it. No.
I actually look forward to that when I get older, is to have my ass wiped. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the few things I look forward to with getting old.
I have a feeling he's going to edit that part out. So, all right, man. So you took the 6 months off and everything like that.
Well, it wasn't completely.
Well, no. You had some really prospective things come your way.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about that is because of the work that you've done. I mean, let's give this man some credit. You've won awards on City Weekly. You've had write-ups about you. Your fans have grown.
Yeah.
And
I love each and every one of them.
And you're not stagnant. You've really just kind of.
I have to stay busy, John. It's the way I am.
You're right. And so so I'll ask you this. What's your motivative factor to keep I Am Salt Lake podcast going? You asked me about AMR. What made you after 6 months say, you know what, I really got to bring this back because something deep inside you, what was it?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I really don't know. No.
Did you have a lot of people constantly saying,
I was sick of the fucking text messages and the emails. When are you going to bring the podcast back? No, honestly.
That should be a compliment, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, the emails and the text messages and the Facebook messages and stuff, that did get, oh, wow, people miss me. But I think what it is I'm a creator. Don't mean that in a religious stance. I like to create.
Right.
And I feel it's something I know how to do. I can sort of play instruments, but I don't have a desire to be in a band.
Right.
I don't have a desire to paint. So this is kind of my way to create something.
You should play Minecraft. You can build all sorts of stuff, man.
Oh God.
Video games.
He wants a life.
Yeah, well, no, and you know, honestly, when everything's said,
you can live there.
It makes me feel like I have a purpose of something, and I think so many people, especially as you get older, life becomes so fucking boring if you don't do something.
Yeah.
You know, you go to your 9-to-5 jobs, and I wanted to do something more than just come home and drink, you know, and it was like, the podcast has become part of who I am.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and I relate with that with AMR. It is who I am.
And I love finding out. So I love stories. I love storytelling. I love finding out people's stories. And I think that's why I like the interviews and the conversations that I have. I missed it. I really did. That's a good question. I mean, I know that there's a lot. I have a lot of drive. I'm a very anxious person. And that's something I'm working on. So I have less. And staying busy keeps me less anxious for some reason. It's very bizarre.
The one thing that I have to say, and I'm sure now with Dan, you can agree to this after listening to a couple of his podcasts now, he has the ability to bring people out of their comfort zone in a comfortable way.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Well, thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, you have the ability to have people that you're able to get people to open up. And that takes a lot, you know. I mean, for me,
It's Tom Hanks.
It's Tom Hanks. I mean, who can't talk to Tom Hanks, right? I mean,
but you know,
John can't see. He's Twitter pated.
But you know, for me, that's I think probably one of my downfalls of when I interview. You know, I'll ask people questions and I'll reach a certain surface level, and then I just move on to the next question because, you know, for me, I've got a certain amount of time or whatever, and I want to really try to focus on as many points possible so people can get as much information about the person that we're interviewing. Where, like with you and Andy, and you know,
Natasha,
the experience, and Natasha, and talking about
and Mark. I've had Mark Benson in here too.
Yeah, and Mark
from Zao.
That's right. But like Andy really stood out because of the struggles that he, you know, went through
with drug addiction.
The drug addiction, everything. Didn't know if we want to bring that up or not, but
no, he says it on the podcast.
He says it on the podcast. So you're right. Okay, so like with his addiction, his past addiction, not anymore. But he opened up, and then like with Natasha, and she was talking about her depression and all that, but you were able to bring that out. And I think that takes a hell of a person to be able to do that. So I commend you for what you do. I just have the utmost respect for you.
Well, thank you.
That's yeah. So, I mean, this is a round table.
Yeah,
of all of us, and we're all part of AMR here. You know what I mean? You're part of.
Well, you guys are Salt Lake too. You are Salt Lake. That's this podcast, really.
Yeah,
you know,
so
without any I mean, think of how big of a role we all play in this city. I mean, everybody plays. Matt, if you weren't around, I mean, the city could fall apart.
It's true. They wouldn't get their auto parts.
No, I really, and that goes back to
cars would be broken down everywhere.
That goes back to the podcast when you said what. I really felt like I'm not done talking to everybody. You know, there's too many more people to interview.
Way too many.
There's too many more people to find out what is going on.
So here's my last question for you, and then the reins are back. Well, no, the reins back. I know.
Yeah.
But I can edit this out later. Don't worry about it. You talk all you want.
I'm not going to edit this out.
So here's my question: if you could interview any politician right now that's currently in office, who would you want to sit across this table right now? And just and either lay into him or ask him the hard questions, or really, I mean, how would you?
I'm not a big political person,
but I'm just saying though. Would you interview like a senator? Who
I would love
be a
to
senator?
talk.
Like Mike Lee or Orrin Hatch.
And I know that this is. I know that this is going to be up after the whole recent things with. You know, the voting up at the Capitol and stuff right now with Senate, but I'd love to pick some people's brains with the recent cannabis medical. I don't want to say legalization here. You know,
I think they legalized the oil.
Well, but it's for medical marijuana here.
I think it's decriminalized
in
medical
Utah.
only.
Did they?
Yeah. Did they pass that?
I don't know. I
think
I know it's one more vote or something.
Like you can have edibles or something if it's for medicinal.
But I would love to. Who's it? Mark Mattson. It was the guy that prevented
from Saratoga.
That. Yeah, he was. I'd love to sit down and pick his brain and kind of like, hey, that takes some balls to get out there, because I mean, that's
Saratoga Springs to boot.
I mean, any politician that brings up any sort of marijuana, legalization can't, medical or whatever. I mean, that's political suicide really for them. But I think more people are kind of coming to it with a different set of eyes of saying, well, this could serve a purpose. Governor Herbert, I'd love to talk to him too.
All right, now I've got a question for everybody here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that Utah will be the last or one of the last states to legalize marijuana, or do you think that they're going to be more current than like Alabama or Kentucky or somewhere south like that?
I think it would snowball, you know what I mean? Everyone's going to catch on, and why are we such a divided country? Can't we agree on anything? What the fuck's up with this shit?
I think it'll be one of the
I think
current ones, because look at like same-sex marriage with the state. People here
they screwed the pooch on that. They tried to make it illegal, and they said, "Oh, that's not constitutional, so it's legal." If they would have just shut up, I mean, it would never have even come up. But they had to make a big stink because of the religion and blah blah blah. And the next thing you know, they did it to themselves. Versus and I have nothing against it. I'm not trying to say I'm against it. I'm saying,
what are you saying, John?
I'm saying that they should have just shut up. But they made such a damn big deal out of nothing. If they would have just said, you know what, it's okay to get married. It's okay to get married. But no, they had to make a big stink, and then they had to go to court, and then they lost, and they had their asses handed to them, made a big deal out of it, and then it became legal because of the stink that they made. And it's like, but if you notice, all the other states are like, we're just going to stay back and let everybody else kind of do their thing. And it's not legal or illegal. They're just letting it kind of float. But Utah just had to stick their thumb in the pie and make it happen. And it's like, so that's where I think what's going to happen again. Someone's going to step up. And I've been seeing Utah trying to legalize marijuana since the 90s.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, there were hemp festivals going on back in the 90s here, and we even played for a guy when Clinton was just getting out of office, and because he got pardoned by Clinton because he was thrown in jail for life for having like 20 sheets of acid on him, and so Clinton's like, really? No, you can go home. And he was a Utah boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but
20 sheets of acid.
20 sheets of acid.
That sounds like a party.
That sounds like somebody's going to have fun.
That's a weekend.
Not much else. But so the fact is that he got thrown in jail for life for that. And
for
20 sheets of acid. 20 sheets of acid. Yeah.
It's pathetic.
And so, but, they let him out. He was pardoned by Clinton. And so they had a big rally up at the state capitol. And my band ended up.
And your band, say it again, just for people listening.
SunCloud. My band, SunCloud. We were on the Capitol steps. And so when he gave his speech, Rocky Anderson was there. He gave his speech. And then my band came up and we played Freedom. So, I mean, it was like, but yeah, there was like all these people up there with their hemp posters and like legalized pot and trying to, so it's been going on forever and a day, but it's finally now just catching up and getting some steam. And I think you're right. I think we're going to be more current. And I've got more bets on the table right now with so many people that they're like, no, Utah will never do it. Barack Obama's never going to legalize it and make it take it out of a Class A. I think Obama's going to not make it illegal anymore, and then they're going to leave it up to the states to decide whether or not, and then everybody's going to sit back and they're going to look at the numbers that Colorado and Washington are pulling in, and they're going to say, gee, they've got so much money they don't know what to do with. Maybe we could use some of that money too. And Utah, tell me Utah's not going to use marijuana as a sin tax, just like they do with alcohol. It's just going to take one church leader to go, hey, I just had a religious experience. And
well, the sad thing is all the politicians. They all smoke from time to time. That's what the ridiculous thing is. Exactly. You know what I mean? They all take a puff on the weekends.
Yeah.
And,
But anyway, I was I wanted to kind of throw down a little round table, get everybody's kind of opinion.
Well, what about you guys? I mean, I feel like John and myself are doing all the talking. I mean, do you guys have any input on it? Or
yeah, I'm going to shut up.
I agree. I think it'll happen soon. I think it'll happen a lot sooner than later. Utah, the legislation and stuff in Utah and the government in Utah definitely likes to follow suit. So I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, and no offense to anybody that's LDS out there.
That was
totally.
Yeah, but I mean, like as he pointed out, when they legalized gay marriage, it was there was a couple other places that argued it, and Utah went, okay, yeah, we should probably do that too.
Yeah,
and they did it. And lost it, and
so did every other state that tried to fight it.
And I think that I think it won't be. It won't be. It'll be later rather than sooner, but it won't be. We won't be one of the last states.
Yeah.
There's no. I think it'll take a while, but we won't be one of the last states.
Yeah, I mean, we're already surrounded. I mean, you got California. We were the only state that's left in the West is Idaho to legalize at least. Medicinal.
Yeah.
Because Nevada isn't it? Isn't Nevada have medical? No.
Yeah.
Nevada's gone in and out of it for years.
Yeah.
I remember.
You can get a hooker, but
Yeah.
But don't get high.
I remember like, I don't know, it was like 10, 15 years ago. It was legal.
Really?
It was decriminalized. It wasn't legal,
decriminalized,
I guess. So.
Yeah.
But in Nevada, and then that disappeared for a while. And then California started.
Coming from Dan with the Rastafarian hat on. Right.
Let me guess what you do on the weekend.
What do you do there, Dan?
Nothing. I do nothing. Because I smoke way too much weed. No, I'm just kidding.
Because he takes 20 sheets of acid.
Because I take 20 sheets of acid. Hell yeah. I have spiritual experiences.
You would after that.
Oh, man. 20 sheets of acid. I don't think I'd ever come back.
Did I hear right that Salt Lake City Punk 2's coming out? SLC Punk?
I heard something
They
about
did some
that,
recording for that, I think, over last summer.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I know a couple
way
of my
great.
friends were like extras or whatever. So
yeah,
nice. That's one of my favorites. Brings me back to my days back when.
I just don't think they're going to do it. I don't know.
I heard
it's going to be a weird sequel. I saw kind of the highlights, but
I heard a rumor that Steve still lives here in Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he lives out in Tooele or something like that, and he's a lawyer now.
Track him down.
He really is
podcast.
Right? I'd love to have him on the show too. That'd be great.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, I mean, and Heroin Bob's not dead.
I'm not dead yet.
He's the real guy. He never died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he lives. Well, last I heard, he lived down like Cedar City or something like that.
Yeah.
So, interesting fun fact. I don't know if it's true.
Big word of the day.
Big word of the day. There you go.
I love Utah fun facts. I mean, there's so much stuff that people do not know about this state.
Yeah, well, and that's something that I'm actually working on a YouTube.
I got a good one. Go ahead.
Little kind of show that I'm. It's very in beta stage.
Talk about it. What do you got going on?
Well, I'm trying to get. We're keeping it local. I'm trying to keep. Get just different bands that not many people have heard of from around Utah, because Utah really does have just a phenomenal
it's huge
music scene.
Yeah, I mean, if you've heard any of the local bands here, it's really it's harder to find shitty bands than it is to find good bands here. I mean, it's really that you can find them anywhere, because there's so many great bands here. And I'm doing like a little mini docs, basically. They'll be like 10, 15-minute episodes.
Mini ducks?
Ducks, yeah.
Ducks. You're doing mini ducks?
Yeah. I've been eating Chinese food a lot lately, so
you're going to put them up on YouTube.
Docs. Yeah, I'm going to throw them up on YouTube, about 10, 15 minutes long, and they'll specialize, they'll feature certain acts and stuff, who I can find. And I've got I think 3 different acts right now that I'm working with and getting footage built up for, and so yeah, we'll get those out. And if you tune into the show on Sundays at AMR.fm, then you'll hear more about it, because once it gets closer to that, I'll start talking about it more.
Nice.
Cool.
Utah fun fact, had to throw this one out. If it wasn't for Utah, Prohibition wouldn't have been lifted. We were the last state to sign to lift prohibition. So
I've heard that
we do like our booze,
and so you can thank Utah for your alcohol, people.
We got some great local brewed beer. I know I talk about it a lot on the podcast, but I'm still trying to get one of them
to be our official beer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Who do you like more? Uinta, Squatters, Moab?
Gosh, they all have their own one. You know what I mean?
Epic.
Epic's like a Spiral Jetty, right? They have like a Spiral Jetty. Epic is a really good beer. I do like a full suspension, you know. Hops Rising.
See, that's the one I go for. I go for the High Point. I can't, you know, if I'm gonna drink, I'd like to have like 1 or 2 beers and then feel it versus having 7 or 8 beers and then having to pee.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's Baba.
Baba's good. That's Epic. That's Uinta.
That's Uinta, yeah, I think. Yeah,
it's good, nice dark beer.
Baba's great. I know places that'll actually use Baba in place of Guinness for like Irish car bombs.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Yeah. You can't tell the difference with one of those. It's great.
Nice.
Baba's a delicious beer.
Well, I can't even go to a bar and order like a Bud Light anymore.
I can't. I get a Hefeweizen usually is what I get. I'm a Hefty guy. I like the apricot Hefeweizen.
Those are good.
I think Wasatch makes it.
I need to get
That's
some more beer stuff on the podcast. You know, I had Jason from Squatters on one of the earlier episodes, the Hop Rising guy, you know, the brewmaster,
the
big bearded guy. He was on one of the early episodes, but I'd love to talk more alcohol.
Hey, if you bring him back, I will bring my autograph signed Hop Rising bottle that he signed for me because that became my all-time favorite beer.
Really?
Top one, number one Hop Rising, yeah. And so I told him, I'm like, dude, you got to sign this. And he actually signed. I still have it at my house.
Right on.
Yeah.
So
takes a hell of
High
a
West is here,
High
right?
West. Oh, yeah,
High West,
Park City, right? Isn't that Park City?
Yeah.
Because my buddy started working with them.
Right on.
And so I don't know if he still works with them, but if he does, I'll get in touch with him and see if he wants to.
Dude, I'd love to talk High West on some
Underground
podcast.
up in Ogden.
Underground up in Ogden, yeah. Those guys are awesome
spirits.
as well.
5 Wives, that's Ogden.
5 Wives, yeah, it's the same company.
Underground, yeah.
Yep, same guys.
And they support a lot of the local people as well as
in fact,
Wanagani band that I worked with recently.
They sponsored Cody Jordan, the Cody Jordan band.
Yeah.
So
Cody's great.
Why do you think Utah? Why do you think we got such great beer here?
Because of the laws. Because of the laws, definitely.
Yeah,
because we drink light beer, and it's not light beer. It's our regular beer, and it's light.
Everybody thinks that, it's 3.2 beer, it's pretty weak, and it's like, have you ever drank a 9.0? We don't have 9-point beer here, and it's like, because your state sucks. We can make 9-point. We drink, we can drink 10-point if you want, So
it's funny. I went down to Cabo, and we got, because I'm from Utah, and we got some Pacificos.
What's that have to do with going to Cabo?
No, just I'm explaining. I'm explaining. We went down to Cabo,
but from
and
Utah.
because I'm from Utah, I got Pacifico Lights just thinking there was a lighter taste, not actual lighter beer. So I'm down in Mexico and I got 3% beer. So it's not even the 3.2 that we have here. It's the 3% beer. I was like, son of a bitch.
Loser. Yeah, wow.
That's funny.
Have any of you guys brewed your own beers or anything? Well, John has, right?
My buddy that hosts at Open Mic at the Royal.
I've always wanted to get
he's brewing
into
his own beer right now.
I just brewed a 10.5.
Did you?
Okay.
High Point 10.5.
Hook me up, buddy.
What about any hard ciders? You ever try hard ciders?
16.
My buddy Dave Rasmussen makes the hard.
I met Dave. I said in a show or something one time. Dave, he's remind me of the band he's in.
I think it's I want to say Dark Divide.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
I love a hard cider. I don't know what it is.
It's he makes. I mean, he distills it into. Oh yeah, it's yummy. Yum. and he grows pretty much everything. So like all the apples, everything, any of the spices or whatever he grows it all. So it's all organic from his own backyard, puts it together and then makes it. He made pear brandy or something like that. So
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, cool. Let's, I guess might as well kind of wrap it up here. The show, we can chat all night. We've been going well over an hour.
Well, we got to talk about Fasba Fpel and the Wizard of Foz with because
let's talk more about Fasba before we wrap this up.
What John is talking about is as I already said, that we have a guest every week, but every few months I'm going to be putting together what I'm calling a Jam Unity album, in which I'm getting people from different bands that have never played together before to be the band, but they're all past guests. So I got the only one that's out so far, Jam Unity Volume 1, The Wizards of Foz, has John Farmer on drums, Eric Blood of Blood Funk on bass, Jack Wilkinson, the folk singer that I'm in a band with.
Which I want to play a track here, either to close out the show or here in a second. But yeah,
and that's pretty good stuff. And at least I like it. And the the banjo player from Folk Hogan, Cameron Anton, was also a part of the jam. And of course, me and John thought it was neat that he's on what we called Book 30. He's on the 30th of our weekly album series, and he was also your 30th episode that was released as well. So we kind of thought that was a neat little tie-in.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, if we could play a track off that. And of course, it's really weird because, again, these guys had never even met each other before. And I just put them in a room, put recorders on them,
painted our faces.
Yeah, the cameras.
You want to play a track right now with the band? Or no?
Well, whatever you want. I mean,
but,
But yeah, but
what do you want to play? Let's play a song and then.
Well, I figured if we played a song, we could play this one of the songs off of that one, or we could play one off of Book 30, the one that has me and my mates with John as well. And John plays drums and some electric violin on that album,
guitar
and some guitar and. Did you do any vocals? Not really, huh?
No.
In the future, you're gonna have to speak.
No. I did. I said this space is not for rent.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's right. And you're like, hey, buddy, what the fuck?
Yeah. I remember that. That was good.
Yeah.
Well, let's play what track? Let's play a track. Say the track, and we'll play it.
No idea. The tracks I should probably mention are really weird because.
You got to describe it because it's pretty cool how he does it. It's like they're books, but then they're chapters. So.
It's really odd.
Well, send me a track. We'll stitch it in here.
Right. Well, I want to explain what we do as it's such a weird project because it was a band and then it became this other thing that's not really a band anymore. It's just this multimedia project, and we knew we needed to make track titles for an album every week. But how were we going to do that? And so what we decided to do was write a giant epic novel that never ends. And each track title is like half of a sentence. So I don't know what the track title is that we're going to play with John. But he's the one who named the titles for the Jam Unity album because it's in a different album series. So it doesn't have that continuing storyline that the book series does. We also have the Dark Diary series where we release the test jams, and that's also got a story. And there's the prequels, which also have a story as well, which is a prequel to the stories as well as being all the jams that we recorded before we decided to start releasing a jam every week. So it's all pretty crazy, but yeah.
I'll stitch it in. We'll end the show. I got a couple more questions I want to ask you guys. We'll play those after we play this song. Yeah, we'll go from there.
I just take two little green apples today.
Well, let's come back and chat some more. John stepped out for a second, but we'll get your guys' input. I always like to find out from people that come on the show, like a couple favorite things they like about living in Salt Lake, favorite things they like about living in Utah, or even a recommendation of something if, say, somebody's listening that might be visiting Salt Lake for the first time. What is something that you like or that you would recommend?
Well, of course, everybody's got to check out the mountains.
Yeah.
Everyone loves hiking those things. If you're not hiking the mountains, why do you live here? Or skiing them, or whatever you do on the mountains, we've got mountains, and they're great. And then, of course, as we're always talking about, the Utah music. Fridays and Saturdays, there's always good bands. Over 5 to 10, whatever, however many bars are playing music that night. There's always good Utah music on Friday, Saturday nights, so that's where I would be.
Any favorite clubs you would recommend or bars?
Well, I have a gig March 20th at the Woodshed with Jack Wilkinson and Juan Wildes, and they've been pretty nice to me, and they always have some regulars in there and whatnot, so I like that place. There's
so
tons
many
of good ones. Yeah,
so
I could
many.
give them all a shout out.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
I definitely agree. Music is definitely something to check out here in Salt Lake, and literally there's so many bars that do live music here, which is a big reason it's hard to get a following. When you're in a band here in Salt Lake.
The problem is that you don't have like a designated area of venues, so you can't just cross the street and go to another one. So it's really difficult. That's the only downside.
You gotta have a car or something. But yeah, or you can take Uber.
Take an Uber, take a Lyft.
Uber. There you go. But yeah, and bars I would suggest, obviously the Royal. Got to suggest the Royal. Hookah is a really cool experience. A little pricey, but it's worth it.
How's their stage? Is it any better?
They're more a club though. They're more a club. I'm just thinking like nightlife,
nightlife, yeah.
Yeah. For venues though, that the Royal is a great one. Let's see, what's that? Johnny's on Second. That one usually has a bunch of really good bands that play there.
Yeah.
5 Monkeys is a fun little venue. Then there's like the actual strictly music venues like the State Room. And
I like the State Room. The problem with the State Room is that they're kind of biased on locals.
Right. There's Murray Theater.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of different, the loading dock. The loading docks kind of seems to be more really, really independent, brand new artists. We'll do a lot of like their release shows there.
People that are listening that are underage, you can go to
you can go to
Core.
Yeah, you can go to the loading dock. The loading dock is 21 or isn't 21.
So did the Shred Shed move? Is there a new location?
No, the Shred Shed is still over by the Green Pig.
They shut it down.
I don't think so.
Did they shut it down?
Oh,
really?
Did they?
Yeah, I didn't know they shut it down.
I know he's doing shows. Jesse from over there is doing shows some other places.
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
Part of
shows how mad I am at staying up on everything in Salt Lake.
Shows,
yeah,
but no venue that I know of.
Which is disappointing because I like the Shred Shed. I like the Shred Shed.
I was actually going to shout them out if they had existed.
It was a good venue. But what about you, John? What are some of your favorite things about living in Utah, or things that you would recommend? Say, because I do get listeners that people that are visiting Utah or moving here. What are some few things that you would give a shout out to or recommend to check out?
I kind of have a unique perspective because I've lived, in so many different areas. I've traveled all around the world, kind of thing like that, and I keep coming back here. What keeps bringing me back are the mountains, for one. The city itself.
There's mountains here?
Yeah, where? I couldn't see them over those hills. But yeah, no, the city itself, the people, if you really want to, people here can be one of two ways, they can be like incredibly nice to you, or it can be massive dickheads. But I mean, for the majority of the time, people here are really kind and nice.
Most of us are nice.
Yeah. 3 out of 4 of us here.
Yeah, I was thinking Chris, but I like to see he's looking at Dan.
See, I say 3 out of 4, and everybody started looking around like, who's the fourth guy? I was talking about me, but whatever.
It's John. No, there's no.
So if you're coming to visit, or even decide to move here, you're gonna love the mountains. You're gonna love the atmosphere, the city. It's just that's what keeps
check out downtown.
Back.
Downtown is really an awesome place to go check out.
And that's the other thing is that if you really get into the scene and you start knowing the right people, you find that Salt Lake really does have like a deep underground.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you're almost in the epicenter of the beginning of the underground, and from there, there's like 5 levels. I mean, when I, back in the 90s, man, there's some deep shit. You could get into like tunnels and shit under the city, and there'd be like parties going on under there. And
have you been
to like our catacombs in Paris?
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard they're there.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's spots where
there's
tunnels. It's just it's literally you got to know somebody to know somebody to.
We do know somebody, John. We know you.
Yeah, but not anymore, man. That was the 90s. That was 20 years ago, man. I've been out of the scene, but yeah, I mean, there were dark tunnels and shit with like art galleries going on where people were like putting their art up on the walls and shit, and you're just like, whoa, lit up by candles, and you're like, wow, is there going to be like a goat in the corner or some shit like that?
Are you sure you didn't just eat 20 tabs of acid?
I ate 20 tabs of acid, yeah, back in the day. No, but yeah, I mean, it's really a really cool art scene here if you just know the right people. And
it's a beautiful city. It really is.
Yeah. I want it to grow, but I don't. I want to see us become like a metropolitan where it's a little more open-minded and not such a red state, but at the same time, keep it kind of where it's at. I like it. Let's not keep flooding it with pollution in our air.
Oh gosh,
I can't stand that.
About that.
Yeah,
pollution.
I mean, it's just that's the downside is that if you've got breathing issues, this is not the city to live in at all.
My best solution for that is just drive a lot more. Go buy a lot of wood, burn it.
Make sure that you buy like a gas guzzling car.
Yeah, drive Hummers, diesels,
big truck,
stuff like that. Yeah.
We probably have the most oh gosh.
Yeah.
Vans.
If
you drive a tow truck,
a lot of
we are the 3M state, Mormons, minivans, and meth.
There you go. That's a weekend.
That's the weekend right there.
And if you're a local band, you could submit your music.
Yes.
Go to AMR.fm.
If you're a band, if you're a musician, even if you're a solo artist and you want to get your music on a radio station, we encourage you to.
And not just Utah bands. I mean,
anywhere. Anybody that's listening to this, it doesn't matter. It's American Musicians Radio, but it is global. In fact, our sister city is Melbourne, because our guy Gareth, my man Gareth, right down there. I mean, he is just making the scene blow up down there. And a big shout out to Gareth. I love the guy. I mean, he has the same heart and soul as I do, and he is literally worked his ass off to get a studio down there and a venue all tied in at the same time. It's all in the same building, and he's got a venue and where they record and then he does live shows and he interviews them. And so, in fact, on Tuesday night after our broadcast from the Royal, just flip over to the Aussie stream. And then you listen to the Aussie alternative that Gareth hosts.
And he does it all with an amazing accent.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it. He sustains this Australian accent so well.
Well, he's from China.
Yeah, I know. Being from China, he does a great Australian accent.
He's tearing it up, though. He's got different guests in almost every day, or possibly 2 a day. He's interviewing people, having people do live performances.
And he's not. Yeah, and I mean, he's not even doing that. In fact, he just sent me a message that they're going to start doing independent film interviews and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's really not just going along with just the music. I mean, he's bringing like different things to the mix to keep the independent drive, and I love it. I mean, it's just great work.
And Fasba, remind the people how they can find more about you. Your show is
Saturdays at noon, and then again Monday at 7. We re-air the same weekly episode. And we're at fasbafpel.com. It's FASBAFPEL.com. And you can also find it at AMR. Just type in Fasba Fpel. And my other band, Jack Wilkinson, you can go to AMR and type in Jack Wilkinson, and it just comes right up. And thanks for having me.
And it's all free.
Chris.
Yeah, and then the Royal Tuesdays.
Yes.
Open mic.
Open mic night, yeah.
Open mic night.
Yep, every Tuesday. And that's 4760 South 900 East.
And probably find out about it even at the they probably have a website.
Is it the Royal.com?
I think it's the Royal SLC.
Yeah, the RoyalSLC.com, I think.
And then you have a show on Sundays at noon.
Yeah.
The Lounge.
The Whatever Lounge.
The Whatever Lounge.
Yeah, with my buddy David, and that's every Sunday here at noon. We don't know. I don't know when we're going to rebroadcast, but we record those too, so we can rebroadcast those.
Awesome.
Yeah. And when are we going to have I Am Salt Lake on?
Yeah. When are we going to have you on the Whatever Lounge? And
you tell me when.
When are we going to air it? When's the weekly spot on AMR.fm that people can hear?
Yeah, we can start putting your podcast
when's
on
your
AMR
podcast going to go live?
You're one of us.
I'll have to talk to John about doing that so people can catch I Am Salt Lake episodes at AMR.fm.
I'd love that.
It's
Absolutely.
our doors are open to you.
Thank you. Again, thank you so much, John, for letting me record podcast interviews here.
Absolutely.
Again, the website, iamsaltlake.com. Don't forget, you can also find it iTunes, Stitcher Radio, rate and review the podcast. If you get a chance, that helps the I Am Salt Lake podcast get exposed to more people. I Am Salt Lake is on Facebook, Twitter, pretty much every social media. I'm a social media junkie, so I pretty much anywhere you can find I Am Salt Lake. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up this episode? Again, thank you so much, John, Dan, and Sean.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having us on here. This was fun.
Mm-hmm.
This was way fun.
I've been looking forward to it for a while.
Thanks a lot.
You know what we should do?
Well, what should we do here?
We should actually rotate our shows and then have you as the guest, you DJ, and then I'll be, and just so we each have our own episode going on like this. You know what I mean? And we can add into it for things that maybe we didn't hit on tonight. But, like I'd like to do something with the Cat's Den where I start bringing in people and doing like discussions about local issues or the music scene and stuff like that. And I think we all kind of make this really nice, tight-knit kind of thing that we can each throw out our opinions.
Absolutely.
That's me. I'm done.